What's going on, everybody? Chart Slinger here with ZeroToHeroTrader.com, and welcome to the nightly video. It is Sunday, June 14th, right around 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and tonight we're just going to take a look at the S&P 500 futures and kind of what's going on with the market. I'm not going to throw out anything off the scanner tonight because I don't really think those really mean anything with all the volatility going on right now. So we're just going to take a look at the charts and see kind of what's going on and what we could have done better to maybe catch this rollover here, or at least get out of the way of this rollover. Because I'm sure some of you got caught in it. I did get caught in it as well. A little bit too much to the long side, and got caught in this overnight washout. So let's go in and take a look and see what maybe we could have done just a little bit better here. All right, so we bring over a daily chart. Pop that out. There we go. All right, so one thing that's really interesting that we did notice, but didn't really maybe catch the significance of it at the time, and this was on Monday, which was this day here, this big green day, where we made this big, we had this big, not really a blow off top, but this big push to the highs there, up into that 3230 level. And on that day we were seeing, in the morning it was kind of slow, and then in the afternoon we just had a huge ramp in everything. And the interesting thing that we saw was this right here. So this is the VIX volatility index, and we had a big uptick in the VIX. So we did notice this, and several of you guys in the chat room noticed this as well, that the VIX was up on a day where the S&Ps were up a lot. And we had a lot of tech up, and pretty much everything was going up on that day. And we saw that and it was like, hey, that's kind of weird. The VIX had a nice pop in it when we had a huge run up, a pretty big run up in the S&Ps. So it turns out that should have been our signal that, hey, we should take profits and kind of get out of the way and see what's going to happen in the next couple of days. Because I think, Wednesday we had the Fed, and looks to me like with this action, probably didn't matter what the Fed was going to say. They were gonna take profits and roll out of those positions and roll that back down to the moving average here. We're sitting just underneath, or right at the 34 EMA on the daily here in the ES E-mini S&P 500 index futures contract. Okay, so if you ever see that again, just remember, hey, we got backwardation, what they call backwardation in the VIX and the ES. Normally, the reason we call that backwardation, because normally, you see here how when ES is normally running up, when it's going up, usually the VIX is coming down. Okay, but when we had this, a spike in the VIX, and ES is still moving up, that's different. Okay, something has changed. Okay, and probably what it was is people were starting to buy protection on their longs, or just betting to the upside on the VIX, or short side on the S&Ps. And then you can see a couple days later, next day we had a small down day on the ES, but a big up day in the VIX. And then after the Fed, we had that big gap down overnight, and then big washout and huge spike in the VIX. Okay, So just keep an eye on the VIX, the relationship between the VIX and the S&P 500, and I think that will maybe help us stay out of the way of something like this. Okay, and we were talking about all the way up that, hey, you know, this is kind of getting a little bit overextended, you know, kind of watch out. But then the big overnight things are what's really hard to predict and hard to stay out of the way of, especially if you're swing trading. Okay, so that's just one of the things that I saw and noticed. And let me go, let's see, get this out of here. I'll go back into an hourly chart, and I've got the 3-minute up here, and you can see actually it's kind of trying to hold up here, which I really hope that it does, because like I said, I've got some put credit spreads down here below 2,900. I've got one at 2,900 that I actually rolled out to the end of July, so I could have a little bit more time on this one because it's starting to get a little close. I did roll that out for a credit, so hopefully giving it more time, and we'll see a little bit of bounce, and I'll be able to get out of that with profit. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so this, if you're wondering what this is, this painting script, all this is I've taken the TTM squeeze, the colors on the histogram for the TTM squeeze, and painted the bars with them. So red is red, yellow is yellow, blue, blue, cayenne, cayenne. And when we have a squeeze on these red dots, it'll paint it orange. So that's just a little custom script that I wrote to follow that, so I can just easily take a look at the chart and see what's going on. And I've got the settings on the chart set to candle trend, so that I can tell the difference between an up and a down candle. If I zoom in here, you can kind of, oops, you can kind of see, you know, I can tell what's an up and down candle. So the hollow ones are up candles, and down are the down candles, or solid or down candles. So it's going to be right here. So you can see if I change it to just candle, you can't tell what's an up candle and what's a down candle. So I like to have it on candle trend when I am when I have a painting script on, so that I can tell, you know, what's what. All right, so let's go in and take a look again at the hourly chart. And you can see that we had other clues here that this might be rolling over. So this is that Monday that I'm talking about, where we had this big push up into the close, and then it kind of fell back off the next day. And when it did, you can see I've got the 5 EMA and a 20 SMA on here. So we did have that cross, and it's kind of going flat here. They're kind of crossing back and forth. And then we finally had the 5 cross below that 34. And then everything kind of washed out from there after the Fed. Okay, this is the Fed right here. Let me zoom in. So this was the Fed day. You had the big spike after the Fed news, minutes news and stuff. But even before all that, okay, you can tell, even before all that happened, they were starting to sell everything off, okay? I think that's why I'm saying, I don't think, no matter what they were going to say, they were going to do this anyway, because they had already started, okay? And you can see that here in the volume coming in here in the morning. I mean, they were selling off pretty heavy in the morning. Okay. Back that back out. All right, so this is that big washout that I was talking about overnight, where I just got trapped with that, because it kind of looked, if you let me back it out just a little bit more. If you look here, okay, and I've got, see these lines, this here, this study here. So this is a volume profile, and I've just got the histogram pretty much blacked out because I don't want to see the histogram on here. You can kind of tell it's right here. It's a little bit hard to see. I've got it, the transparency turned all the way down. but it kind of looks like this one. See, I've got it up here on the 3-minute. But what this is this red line is the point of control, which means that that's where the majority, or the highest, that's where the highest volume is during that time period. And on the hourly chart, I've got it set up for a week. And so you can tell when we broke below the swing low that's kind of closest to that point of control, it just washed out. Okay, and that's a really good thing to use. And this is, you know, standard. This is a standard indicator in Thinkorswim. You can get it in most platforms, I think. But it's a really good indicator to use to kind of show you, you know, where all the buying and selling is happening, and where the you know, control is. So if you go in here and look, you can tell here. So if we back up just a little bit, I kind of show you, you know, how I use this, and how I kind of use it to gauge what's going on in the price action, not just from the candles and the moving averages and all the crap that I've got here on the chart, but what's going on with the price action, the actual buying and selling and everything. Okay, so if you just look at these lines here that I've got, let me highlight it, those lines. Okay, and you start here, you can see when price pushes above that point of control, it comes down, retests it, and bounces back and moves on. Okay, it just happens over and over. And these will move, you know, if you have it up and you're watching it real time, this point of control will move as the volume comes in. People, you know, start making transactions in the sale of these stocks and futures, whatever you're using it on. Okay, it'll move as you're watching it. But, you know, once it closes out a period, so this is a hourly chart, these are weekly periods. So once the week's over, you know, this is not going to change anymore. It's printed. Okay, that weekly section is printed. It won't move anymore. Okay, and a lot of times what happens is, especially in the shorter time frames, is those will be printed, and they'll still respect those levels after it's been printed. And you can see that here. Okay, we're putting in this point of control level here. It broke below it, came down, and bounced off of this line here, which is called the value line. Okay, these outer lines are called the value lines. So it bounced off of that, came back up into the point of control. So that's just kind of a short and quick way to use these volume profile indicators. And I think they're really good for kind of gauging what's going on with the price action, giving you a little bit of an idea where buyers and sellers are trapped, or things like that. Like you can see here, okay, everybody got trapped long up here. So let me go in and raise this opacity so you can see the actual volume here. Where is it at? Here it is. So bring this up a little bit. There we go. All right. So you can see here everybody and their mother's dog was buying right here. Okay. Everybody was so crazy long right here, right? Everybody thought it was just gonna blow right through this and come back up. And guess what? When we got below that, everybody was trapped. So what do you think is gonna happen? They're all gonna capitulate, and that's what happened. Okay, everybody capitulated, and boom, it just dived. Okay, so that's one way to use another indicator in here to kind of tell you, you know, where is everybody buying and selling. Because if you're just looking at candles, you can't really tell. Like even just the volume, candles. Okay, you can't really tell exactly where everything is. Okay, yeah, you can tell like on this candle, you know, that volume candle was higher on this one, but you don't really know, you know, what else is going on. This shows you a nice plotted picture of where everybody is. Okay, where the book is, as far as where everybody's gotten in and everything like that. So yeah, just another thing to help you out there. If you have never seen this volume profile, I like it. I like to use it, especially on the short time frame stuff. I've been using it a lot lately, and kind of helps with confirming the the other signals. So, all right, guys, that's kind of all I have for tonight. It's kind of a long-winded video, even though I didn't have any stock plays to go on the scanners tonight. But like I said, hopefully this will hold up right here under this level, and we can get some kind of bounce back this week. That would be really nice if I could get up above 3100, back into this level up here, above this 34 EMA. That would really make me feel a whole lot better. All right, guys, you have a nice trading day and have a nice week, and I'll see you in the chat later.